late, and being at the later stage of the children and the family, you've found that I had a lot more security. The fact that I didn't have to lean on my parents so much, just the fact that my mother and father had to deal with so many of us. I could lean to my older sisters and my older brothers and take that security if my mother was looking after Barry. And as I started to grow, and the fact that Barry and I were so close, one after the other, I was fortunate as well that I had a link with him. So all my life I had a close companion. I actually had my first guitar. It was a ukulele actually. Bought, I think it was my 5th Christmas. Or from a really young age, I wanted to be a football player. That's all I ever thought about. All I ever did was play soccer. And as I started, I guess that was like the age of 4, 5, 6. I was already thinking, that's why I want to be George Best, and they were my kind of idols at that time. I was 15 and a half when my father died, and it was my last year at school, the year of my exams, and it's kind of a weird time for most kids at that age with their parents, because you want to do things. You think at that age that you kind of know everything and you already know what you want to do, and you feel that you can, you have the right to be able to do what you want to do. I wasn't actually getting on that well with my father at that time, and the fact that he'd been ill for quite a long while, he was having a hard time just dealing with that. So it was very difficult for him to get, for us to get close to him. My father was a great painter as well, artist. He was brilliant, and also he played the guitar, and he was also a great photographer as well. He was a boxer actually, and he was always encouraging us to box. And, none of us actually took it up as a profession, which I think he would have loved to have seen. He'd be proud of us now, the fact that we always maintained a standard. We always wanted to do well in whatever we got involved with, and that was partly because he was very strict. And if you're going to do something, you've got to do it well. Whatever I wanted to do, it was never that difficult, because my mother was, always support. From the very beginning, she gave us so much support and love, to the point of it, I never had to doubt. My whole life, I've never had a doubt, with that love, and it's something that, I'm very fortunate for. For us boys, it was almost easier to want to try different avenues and not feel that we had to, leave school, find a job, and, whatever, live the normal life, or whatever people think is. We were always encouraged to do kind of what we wanted to do once involved, whether it was sport or music or painting, which it's that's where we've all got it from. My brothers, Ron, my oldest brother, who's a designer, and my older sister was a singer, Sheila. Chester is also involved in music, guitarist, and there's my younger brother, Barry, who paints, and my sister, Lana, who plays piano. We've all been very lucky that we've all actually grasped something that interested us that much to want to take it up as a professional career, make a life of it. Well, music had been, just prior to, actually when first leaving school, I'd started seriously thinking about music, and I played bass guitar for a while. And, but always that feeling of kind of waiting for my brother. My brother's, who had been playing a lot longer, and so at the time I was just, if I can remember, just really wanting to move away from home and kind of find a new life, and modelling was a way of kind of introducing me to that, to London and the lifestyle. I got into modelling through a friend who was a photographer back where I lived, and he said I should do some pictures. I didn't think anything of it. When we saw the pictures, they kind of came out all right, I guess. And an agency accepted them, so obviously there was something in them. And that's how I made my kind of step from a little Harlow town to London. The first job I did, was actually one of the biggest jobs I did throughout my whole modelling career. It was actually with Jerry Hall, Cosmopolitan. And after that, it was like downhill all the way. I can tell you my first experience of Italy, though, which was actually very short. The first time I went to Milan, actually, I was looking for an agency in Italy. And I got the boat from Dover and went through Paris. Couldn't get an agency in Paris, so I went to Italy, and the same thing. I was only in Italy for 8 hours. Went to every agency, turned down by everyone, took all my bags. I mean, I took everything. I didn't really know if you'd seen it. I turned up, I was like 4 bags, and I had my suit on, and like this quiff at the time, which at that time I didn't think anything of it, but I guess people weren't looking like that. I had my brothel creepers on, and it was like, what do you want? It's kind of changed since then. I'd actually stopped working, and the opportunity came up. You know, they asked to see me, and I decided to go and see them because I actually, I was broke, and I knew if I did a job like this, it could help me just carry on with my demos and recording. It was a great ad to do, but it was another job. I'd done commercials before, and to see something like that just kind of get out of hand so quickly. Not that I didn't appreciate, I mean, the fact that a lot of things came my way, and the fact that I had had been acknowledged by so many people, but I couldn't actually accept it because I felt I hadn't really done anything. I'd only done a commercial, and it was suddenly, people were making a really big deal about it. At the same time the ad came out, I was pretty much ready to go and see record companies with my demos, and I'd made a video. A good friend of mine, Mark LeBon. That was the thing with the Levi ad that I said before, that the fact that it was such a hit, people already had me labelled. So to make a record was like, hang about. You've already done what you're meant to do. Madonna called me up. She got to hear my demo tapes through Seymour Stein, who I had signed with in America, and Sire Records. And she liked the tape, she liked the sound of my voice. So she called up and, said she'd like to write a song for me. I think everybody thinks I kind of just jumped in, and it was like, of course, drop everything. And it wasn't actually like that. I seriously considered the move and also the outcome of what might happen. Because it's very easy to say, okay, you make a record with a big star and you're going to be a big star yourself, or you're going to have a hit record. It's very easy to do that, but then what follows? When she actually asked me, it was quite daunting, the thought. Even though I was excited, the fact that she would even pick up on me to want to write someone of that size that would want to even work with me, I wasn't quite sure, I wasn't sure what to expect. And after actually having the first conversations, I could immediately realize there was a lot more to her than just the obvious side that people see. And going out and making the record was an experience. And we were already in the making of the video with John Baptiste, and it wasn't going to be ready in time for the tube, so we decided to make a quick Super 8 video. And it turned out great. People seemed to love it. I love to work with film, so it's something that was a great kind of area for me, because I had to come up with promos, and especially on the first album with all the singles, I had a blast putting them together. I'll continue because I do love putting those ideas and starting off with an idea in the storyboard and images and seeing it go all the way through to the end, to the finish. It's the same as making a record. It's the same, whatever. Like for the first album, I wanted a live sounding album, and that's why I went with Stuart. The fact that Stuart likes to work in that way, and the songs, and the telephone. I had recorded a lot of it before on demo form, from the original demos, and it was the direction I wanted the album to go in. I didn't feel I was ready to have my own songs on the album. It was simple as that. And that was the reason, really. And we had enough songs, and I didn't feel ready, so we went with the covers. The first album, Come Softly. I've lived in Notting Hill now for a few years, and there's so much in the area, apart the markets and the stores and the galleries, and there's so many different cultures and different groups of people living with each other, and the streets are always buzzing, which I love. I guess there's areas in Paris that are kind of similar. Clignancourt, it's a heavy kind of Algerian and kind of North African influences, but you still get that kind of manic excitement in the streets. There's market stalls, there's shops, there's antique shops, there's different little restaurants and cafes, and there's different music and different faces, and I love that kind of that kind of atmosphere and just that street life that's going on all the time. Notting Hill's just a whole mixture of different things, different vibes, and it's really appealing for me. You get that in New York as well. It's that spirit in the era that I feel more in this area than any other area in London. And the fact it's still pretty central, but it's got that community vibe about it, and that street vibe, which you don't get so much in kind of central London, because it's kind of very residential, which a lot of parts around here are, but within one block can be very residential, and then the next block can be Jamaicaville. Like the carnival, for instance, I mean, once a year, thank God they still allow it. It's the most exciting thing of the year in town. 1 million people with street music, and families come down from all over and set up their stalls, and it's just madness for a few days on the streets with music, food, and people just having a wonderful time, and everybody pulling together. I love reggae. It wasn't one of the first musics I actually picked up on. Like I say, when I was a kid, I was listening to people like Hendrix or Patsy Cline, and didn't really know too much about reggae until I moved into London. I get inspired and get excited by many different people, many different things I see around. I feel I'm like an observer. I like to keep everything open, and I like to take the widest and the broadest look on everything. So it's difficult to say pick one key thing or one key person, but just from the artists I mentioned, I can get excited to do something myself from, say, listening to John Lennon or Bob Marley or someone. I guess it's the honesty and the kind of the front they have. It's kind of pure. They don't crowd themselves with too much crap. The second album, it was just a natural thing to have my songs. I felt more confident, and the songs were better. When I started to write the album, I didn't actually start to write the album. I just wrote each song. We started on a new song. We started on a new song, whether it was with Pat Leonard or with Gardner or with Jeff, the different producers I worked with. It wasn't such a weight on my shoulders. Still Love's probably my favourite song. I feel it's the most complete song I've written. And now listening back to all the other songs. Tell Me as well, though. I got a big kick out of writing Tell Me. It's amazing that people don't see what's going on. I mean, to me it was actually so blatant that it's pretty obvious. I was 2 foot small and she was 50 foot small, 50 foot tall. Well, I hope to be going out live next year, early next year, in Europe, and keep it quite personal. The tour won't be a big tour or anything like that, but it would be a start for me, because I haven't played live before, so it's something that I've wanted to do for a long while, and I think it's about time. Oh yeah. It's something that, I've grown up going to gigs all my life and seeing people and getting that buzz, being in the audience, what they must be going through, and it's something that it's always been with me like a dream from, you know, like as when I said I used to see my brother playing on stage when I was a kid, and it's something that stuck with me all my life, and it's, I think it's about time I get out there. I mean, I guess I've been fortunate that I've had enough exposure and enough in front of a lot of people. I've had to deal with that, so I guess I've had a good warm-up as far as dealing with an audience, but playing live's a whole different ballgame. I love films, and that's a huge step to even think at the moment of maybe becoming an actor, but it's something that's always it's another, if you like, it's another occupation, another craft that's, you know, appealed to me, and I know that even with the tiniest kind of snippets I've got been involved, and it's something that I know I would like to spend more time in, but it's, you know, I can't give that the time, or don't even want to at the moment, you know. I want to concentrate on the music.